Welcome to the Mining Much. We are really excited today because this is our first presentation in Asia Pacific, and we are going to have a very well attended meeting. We have people attending for over 60 countries, which is really good and very encouraging for us. So I'm going to do announcement. It's about Spanomine. If you are interested in doing business in Latin America, or you are in the mining industry and you speak Spanish, please join Spanomine. We provide professional development and connection to the Latin American community. Okay, today we have our first speaker in Asia Pacific, Anil Kumar Mehrotra. Anil has an extensive experience in geostatistics, and he will discuss today the application of geostatistics in mineral exploration. You know, when you are doing exploration, you want to measure your KPIs and you want to optimize how much money you spend in doing this exploration. So one of the key components, for example, is distance. How long can stretch the distance between drill holes? And geostatistics is a very, very useful tool to do that analysis. All right, so Anil, welcome to the Mining Much. Everyone is hearing you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alan. I'm fine. So very good afternoon in India, and very good morning in the Canada and other Western countries. It is very great. I am being honored by Alan, that is Mining Match channel, that he invited me for this lecture, and I think this is the first, as he told, this is the first lecture in Asia Pacific by this channel, that is Mining Match channel. Now, the topic of the presentation today is application of geostatistics in mineral exploration. Now, first of all, I like to say the mineral exploration without geostatistics is not possible these days, because geostatistics helps a lot in optimizing the boreholes, no infructuous drilling, then estimation is very accurate, that is your prediction accuracy can be quantified. So with this background, I just like to take a few minutes to promote the book written by me. That is a book authored by me, is the Geostatistics for Beginners. The book is mainly meant for younger generation professionals who are engaged in mineral exploration, mining, and students who are interested in learning the subject of geostatistics. It is available at Amazon.in. My website is it is given here in the screen itself. Details of my book, and there are 4 different videos already uploaded there. So kindly subscribe my channel, the Geostatistics for Beginners. Thank you. So now we start with the introduction. The study of variability of regionalized variables, I'll explain what regionalized variables are, is called geostatistics. In early 50s, Professor D.G. Krigg, a mining engineer working in a gold mine in South Africa, noticed discrepancies between the estimated grades of blocks and true grade after mining. Professor Matheron of Center of Geostatistics, Fontainebleau, France, thought that the underlying problem was the correlation existing between the sample values. This correlation had to be quantified as a function of distance between the sample. He came out with a theory of spatial correlation between the sample values and called such variables as regionalized variables. Now it is clear that what are regionalized variables, which have spatial correlation. They are called regionalized variables. Root cause of the wrong estimation was that the distance between the samples was not being considered while estimation. So that was the main problem. Now I am not able to go to the next slide.
No, just tell me.
Just next slide, please.
Yes, go ahead.
Now I come to the difference between the conventional statistics and geostatistics. The difference is that in conventional statistics, one deals with random samples, that is irrespective of location of sample. While in geostatistics, spatial variability is studied and try to capitalize on this knowledge. An estimator called kriging, named after Professor Krig, was developed for estimation of ore reserves and grade. Kriging is also termed as BLUE, B-L-U-E, Best Linear Unbiased Estimator. By this method, estimation error can be quantified, thus giving the prediction accuracy which is so important for taking an investment decision before opening of a mine after exploration. Next, please. So let us answer this question first. When to apply geostatistics? Geostatistics is an independent scientific discipline, interdependent. It is not independent, it is interdependent scientific discipline rather than a standalone technique. It has become a tool available to geologists and mining engineers for the purpose of characterizing a mineral deposit. A geostatistical study properly carried is generally expensive and time consuming and not cheap and fast because of use of a computer. Because what I mean to say, it is not cheap. It takes a lot of time. Just for preparation of the data, it takes almost 80% of the time, error-free data. And after the data is prepared, it takes only 20 minutes by pushing a button of a computer. So it is data preparation takes a lot of time in geostatistics. Once it is decided to carry out a geostatistical study, objectives and assumptions should be clearly spelled out. Next one, please. What? So what is expected of geostatistics is the first point. What kind of results are to be estimated? This has to be clearly put into the mind and clearly spelled out. That is whether in situ geological reserves or recoverable mining reserves. Then what is the end use of estimated reserves? Ore reserve reporting, feasibility study, production planning. These are the three main end uses. What are the relevant geological characteristics of the deposit? This is the third point, which is very important, which is to be considered at the time of start of the geostatistics study. Geological characteristics may vary from deposit to deposit, whether homogeneous, bedded type, vein type, or disseminated type, or might be hydrothermal and many other types. Then strike, dip, folds, faults, foliations, and joint planes, etc., have to be studied properly by the geological characteristics should be studied before starting a study, geostatistical study. Next one. Now, the fourth point is data considered should be clearly spelled out. Primary assay data. I will emphasize on this. Primary assay data on trace cutoff. No economic cutoff should be considered at the time of uh, selection of the data. Computed zone-wise data along with associated thickness should be clearly spelled out. First thing is the data should be on trace cutoff. Then on that data, computed zone-wise data by compositing it should be prepared along with the associated thicknesses, and this should be very clearly spelled out. The fifth point is what are geologists' views on continuation of mineralization. Geologists' interpretation on the basis of exploration data with the help of geological sections, LV section. Geological sections means the cross sections along the strike and along the dip also. LV section and level plans, etc. on continuation of mineralization in depth. So his views are to be considered about the continuation of mineralization in depth and strike and along the strike. Then sixth point is in case of mineable reserves, what type of mining is envisaged, open cast or underground, what cutoff grade is to be considered. Because cutoff grade is to be considered in the beginning itself, because with change in cutoff grade, shape of the ore deposit changes, and on the shape of the ore body, type of mining envisaged and mining equipment used will also depend. So it should be known prior to that, discussing with the mining engineer and the geologist. So make sure that there is proper coordination amongst the entire team, project geologist, mining engineer and a geostatistician. Next please. Now steps involved in a geostatistical study. Now once we decide to start a geostatistical study, so it has to be followed step by step. Not a single step should be left behind. Collect and check data. Error-free data should be ensured before starting the study. Discuss with the project geologist type of sampling procedures followed. Change in sampling procedure during the exploration campaign and why. Because there are many times exploration in a deposit extends for 4 years, 5 years, and during that time the project geologist gets changed. So sampling procedure might change due to the change in person also. So this has to be clearly spelled out why the sampling procedure has been changed during the campaign. And different geological zones, this should be known prior to this. Preferential sampling of rich zones, if yes, why? There are many times just to upgrade your the ROM, some people start doing the sampling of rich zones only. This is wrong. This should not be done, because this will mislead the industry, the mining industry. Because what you say you will not find at the time of mining. Define regions and variables to be studied. Which are the areas, which are the regions, and which are the variables to be studied. What is the volume support? Now this is another very important issue in geostatistics. There is a volume variance relationship, which is most important in geostatistics. Whether the data is borehole data is having a point support. Channel sample data, pit sample data, or exploratory mining data. All of them have different volume support on on the perusal of the next slide, there is a table where I have given how the variance changes with change in support. Now you see, this is live data of a project. You can see the initial sample number was 2632. Minimum value was 0, maximum was 34.1, mean was 6.98, and variance was 51.56. Once it is composited to 1 meter length, number of samples were 3143. They increased. Then minimum maximum value also changed. Mean also changed from 6.98 to 6.50. Variance decreased. Now you see once the volume increases, the variance decreases. Then this project was to be done by open cast with the 6 meter of bench height. So it was composited on 6 meter length or 6 meter height. Every sample were considered to be 6 meter. And 6 meter with 1 meter, I mean to say, is the bottom part 1 meter to be considered, and in other part bottom 2 meter was considered. So you can see with the compositing at 6 meters, the variance came down to 35.03 from 51.56, and with 2 meter 34.73. So this is the actual data we will consider for further studies. That is 535 samples and 34.73 variance. Next slide, please. Now, this is problem. Now, after preparation of the data, basic statistical studies, this can be removed or not?
Shall I go next?
No. Basic statistical tests to be carried out to understand the behavior of the variable. That is mean, variance, standard deviation, scatter plot, frequency distribution, and histogram. This is figure 1. This is the raw histogram of P2O5 after compositing. So now you can see in this itself minimum, maximum, mean, variance, etc. Everything is given here. Next slide, please. This top one can be removed. Now another condition, this is which is to be satisfied, condition of second order stationarity. By second order stationarity, I mean to say is the first order of stationarity is mean, then second order is variance, third order is the skewness, fourth is the kurtosis. So we consider up to second order mean and variance. To second order stationary to be fulfilled, that is mean and variance of the variable should be constant up to a certain distance. Why certain distance? I'll come later. Check for outliers and their locations. That is another very important point, because outlier plays a very, very important role in deciding the economic viability of the deposit. Once I went to France for studying geostatistics. My director, Dr. Mrs. Margaret Armstrong, told us that there is a gold deposit and there is one single sample outlier of 100 grams per ton, average grade is 1 gram, and that is lying, that location is in the center of the deposit. If you consider it, so deposit becomes economically viable, and if you ignore it, the deposit is not economically viable. As a geostatistician, what will you do to include that in the database or exclude it? This is a very very important question regarding outliers. So location of outliers within the deposit is very important because it may affect the economic viability of a deposit. So my answer to that was, when she asked us this question, I said we have to check the range of that particular sample, the range of influence, by doing more close space drilling, and decide what is the range of influence of this, and that treat that as a separate population, and then mix the results. Otherwise, if you mix the entire database, then it will be giving you a misleading results. Calculation of experimental variogram. So variograms are calculated in 4 different directions, and that is a horizontal plane and a vertical direction along the whole. So four different directions in horizontal plane. In this, now a geological factor also comes while considering the calculation of experimental variograms. There is one direction along the strike and another direction along the dip, 90 degrees to the direction of strike. So what you will find in the experimental variogram, that in the 4 directions you will find different ranges. So along the strike, the variability will be less, and along the dip variability will be more. With that, from the variogram itself, you can find out what is the strike direction and what is the dip direction. Next, please. Now, this is the fitting of variogram model. This I have done the fitting of the 3-dimensional variogram model. That is a spherical model. You can see this one is along the vertical direction. You can see the difference in range from along the dip and along the strike and along the vertical direction. So it is very difficult to particularly in gold deposits where continuity along the depth or along the depth is range is found to be almost 3/4 at least 1/3 or 1/4 of the horizontal plane. So it is very important to consider in the vertical direction. Then finally, the use of variogram parameters. Nugget effect. Nugget effect is in a variogram is the short distance variability. The variogram which have nugget effect will not start from 0. They will start somewhere from the y-axis, from the top. This portion on the y-axis is called the nugget effect, or C0. And the highest point on the y-axis when the variogram flattens, that distance is called the C plus C0 is total C. That is total sill of the variogram. And where it touches the horizontal, that is the distance is called the range of the variogram. So nugget effect, sill, and the range. These are the 3 different parameters of a variogram which are used for interpolation of variable using kriging. Next, please. Now once we use the kriging, that is why I told it takes time, because we have to decide what is the neighborhood to be considered for estimation, what is the discretization level, By discretization, I mean to say is that is on the periphery when the block is not complete. So there you need to uh, divide the block into smaller cells. That is called discretization. So an estimation so these three factors, neighborhood area, discretization, play a very important role in getting the results. Now you can see here, I have done around 5, 6, 7 different combinations just to decide in which combination I get the minimum estimation variance. That is to be tried for the final estimation. You can find here neighborhood 5 block by 5 block in X and Y and 7 blocks in Z. Then discretization 5 by 5 by 1. Estimation variance is 2.94. It is the least from all the other cases. Then the mean of covariance of the block, correlation, these are all factors. Once you do the kriging, you get a table like this. So finally, once we decide to do the kriging with this combination of neighborhood and discretization, then we get the minimum estimation variance. That is, minimum estimation variance means minimum estimation error, and that is your higher prediction accuracy. This is the most important. In geostatistics, you can quantify the prediction accuracy. Next, please. Now, once we make a block model and we click that block model, then we can slice them at different slices we can see. So this is one slice I am showing because it depends. Once you have open cast mining of 6 meter height of a bench, then you should have every 6 meter a slice of the cricked grade and cricked variance. So this is one of the slices. This slide shows very clearly. Okay, this is the cricked grade and this is the cricked variance. So you can just see, okay, the portion where the grade is estimated to be higher, the variance is lower. That means your estimation is more reliable in this area. Where cricked variance is more, then you have to do something to improve your prediction accuracy. So this slide shows section-wise cricked grade and cricked variance is depicted in figure 4 and 5. It can be seen that both are inversely proportional, that is, in blocks where grade is estimated to be higher, cricked variance is lower. In other words, estimation is more reliable. So in the last, misuse of the technique can lead to disappointment if not damaging results. Next one. Advantages of geostatistics. Optimization of sampling grid, automatic contouring, grade control problems can be tackled to keep the run of mine grade within predetermined limits, volume variance relationship, 2D and 3D block model with estimation of block-wise grade and tonnage with prediction accuracy, mine planning and production schedule planning, mineral deposit simulation. Limitations. Now I come to the limitation part. Sufficient quantitative data must be available to allow the study of spatial variability. That is, sufficient data should be available to allow the study of spatial variability. a problem to be solved must be amenable to the interpolation technique. That means, once again, I come back to the regionalized variable. That is, they must be spatially correlated. Then only they are amenable for interpolation technique. In geostatistics, big is not necessarily beautiful. Next one. Conclusion. Thus, it can be concluded that geostatistics has emerged as a very useful tool for geologists and mining engineers for unbiased estimation and reporting of mineral resources, modeling and characterization of ore deposits, resulting in production planning and mine scheduling. So, this is how geostatistics is playing a very important role in the mining industry. Next, thank you, sir. Next is thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Now I am open for questions. If there are any questions in the chat box, I am
Yes.
open.